Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for coming. We are presenting here in Stockholm this afternoon a seminar around making dams work for local development. And the reason that we're doing this is that because in many cases, particularly in developing countries, dams have not always served to support the livelihoods of local people that have been affected by dams, and very often have been directed principally at meeting national objectives of energy production or water storage or large-scale irrigation and various other central government policies. And one of the reasons for doing this over the last 5 or 6 years has been to try and support the regional processes that are currently underway to build more dams in West Africa to meet the pressing development needs that exist in the region. So energy is only available to maybe 10 or 11% of households. There is still $1 billion a year spent on importing rice in the region, so there's a need for more rice production. And we think that these national targets can be met by paying more attention to the way in which the locally affected people will benefit from the infrastructure that is being built, so that we get both the national objective and the local objective included in these strategic policies. So in the West African region, there are another 39 dams that have been identified. And we are working with two of my colleagues here that I'd like to introduce. Firstly, Mahaman Touré, who is from the Water Coordination Unit of ECOWAS, which is the 15-country grouping of West African states, and Noureddine Touré, who is a representative of civil society, representing the local people who use the Niger River Basin. And he is president of the 9-country civil society groups that operate within the basin. So in combination, and they can tell you more about this, with in partnership that we, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been trying to learn the lessons of the existing dams in West Africa, what has worked and what hasn't worked, and to put in place both a policy framework through ECOWAS that can assist in making some of these bad outcomes less likely, along with the civil society groups who are desperate for development opportunities around dams, but certainly don't want to be negatively impacted. They want to be beneficiaries of these dams. And these are the topics that concern us in our seminar this afternoon. So with no more ado, I think that gives you a sense of what we're trying to achieve this afternoon, and you have the details of the project in front of you. So if there are any questions around dams as civil society for government, Mahaman is obviously linked to the 15 West African governments and civil society, and we can translate any questions that you might have around these topics.
I would be very curious as to the lessons that you have learned. What are the negatives specifically that you've identified, and then together, how are you approaching it in cooperation to solve those issues so they don't happen again?
So I'm just thinking about translation issues. Would you mind just translating? You speak English, yeah? So you're okay. Would you just translate the question for me?
Translate is better. La question donc est de savoir, à partir des analyses, des études faites, des expériences passées pour les barrages, quels sont les aspects négatifs qui sont ressortis pour pouvoir justement les corriger dans l'avenir pour les nouveaux projets, et dans quelle mesure justement la collaboration se fait entre le programme GWI, la CEDEAO, les pays et la société civile, les usagers, pour essayer de prendre en compte ces leçons et mieux faire dans les futurs projets de barrage.
Donc soyez bref, parce que après, moi je vais traduire vers l'anglais.
Okay.
Donc soyez bref.
Non, on va être très bref. Bon, comme il a dit, moi je présente ici la Communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, qui est donc la principale organisation d'intégration régionale en Afrique de l'Ouest.
So he is representing the Community of West African States, which is the main coordinating body for the region.
Et donc en tant qu'organisation d'intégration régionale, donc, notre mission c'est vraiment de promouvoir l'intégration régionale en Afrique de l'Ouest en mettant en place les politiques, les programmes, les projets pour restructurer les secteurs en fait, dans tous les domaines du développement économique et social, y compris dans le domaine de l'eau.
So within the West African region, they are the body that seeks to integrate development opportunities across the region and to put in place the projects and programs that are going to be of benefit to all the countries and people in the region.
Notre région a adopté en 2008 une politique régionale de ressources en eau.
So in 2008 we adopted a water policy for the region.
On prend en compte notamment le développement des barrages dans notre région.
And this includes the development of significant dams in the region.
Et dans ce cadre, nous avons mené, en fait, on va présenter cela cet après-midi, un dialogue régional donc, pour le développement des barrages dans notre région, un dialogue qui a impliqué tous les acteurs, que ce soit les États, les 15 États de notre organisation, les organisations de la société civile, les organismes de bassin, pour voir comment on peut construire vraiment de meilleurs barrages dans la région, donc en essayant également de tirer les leçons des expériences passées.
So they've led a regional dialogue since 2010 around the lessons that we can learn from dams in West Africa, involving the river basin organisations, the government, civil society, with a view to establishing a proper policy framework for building proper dams.
Parce qu'actuellement, il faut également dire que la question des barrages est une question très sensible dans notre région, à cause notamment des questions liées au changement climatique qui fait que l'eau diminue. Donc ça pose vraiment beaucoup de problèmes par rapport même entre États qui partagent les mêmes fleuves. Donc c'est vraiment beaucoup de problèmes.
So dams are a very sensitive issue in our region because of climate change and sharing water resources between countries. And so the role of the ECOWAS consultations is to make sure that this doesn't cause problems between member states, upstream and downstream states.
Donc dans
moi, je m'appelle M. Nouradine Zakaria Touré. Je suis le président de la société civile du bassin du Niger qui regroupe 9 pays.
So my name is Nouradine Zakaria Touré. I'm the president of the civil society groups within the Niger Basin Authority, which is 9 countries.
Quand on dit usagers, il s'agit des agriculteurs, éleveurs, paysans, orpailleurs.
And this includes all the users of the Niger River water, whether they're farmers, fishermen, gold panners, drinking water, whatever it is.
Pas les sociétés commerciales, pas ça.
So this isn't private sector, this is local communities, local water users.
Madame a posé une question intéressante. Est-ce qu'on peut parler des impacts négatifs des barrages?
So in terms of negative impacts of dams,
et évidemment, quand on construit un barrage, vous avez des impacts positifs, mais vous avez également des impacts négatifs. Par exemple, si vous faites déplacer 200 000 personnes de leur village d'origine, vous allez les amener très loin du barrage, alors que vous ne les avez pas mis dans les conditions nécessaires en termes de construction d'habitat, en termes de maîtrise d'eau potable, de construction des infrastructures socio-économiques. Ça, c'est un impact négatif et on a des exemples dans le bassin du Niger.
Okay, so in terms of the negative impacts of dams, and there are both positive and negative impacts, but he's saying that in many cases affected people are displaced by a dam and moved to another area where they don't necessarily have the drinking water supply, the natural resources, the living conditions that they had in their previous site, or ones that allow them to improve the local development.
Quand vous construisez les barrages, vous fermez les barrages, vous submergez toutes les terres agricoles des populations que vous avez déplacées et vous n'avez pas aménagé des périmètres irrigués pour les compenser, c'est des impacts négatifs et on connaît des exemples de ce genre.
There are also examples where agricultural land has been flooded by dams, but these have not been replaced with appropriate irrigation schemes from the dam to compensate for the loss of agricultural land when the reservoir was flooded.
Quand vous construisez le barrage, vous produisez de l'électricité, vous l'amenez à 500 km, là où il y a les grandes usines de fabrication de produits, alors que les populations qui ont été déplacées, qui sont à 0 mètre du barrage, n'ont pas l'électricité, et tous les virages que les poteaux traversent pour aller à 500 km n'ont pas l'électricité. Ça, c'est des impacts négatifs.
Equally, you find cases where a dam generates electricity for distant cities that might be 500 kilometers away, and the people that live right next to the dam, along with the people who are right along the power lines, don't have access to the same electricity. The electricity is all for the city and not for the development of the local communities.
Vous vendez l'électricité du barrage à concurrence des milliards de francs CFA et les populations qui ont été déplacées, pour lesquelles le barrage a été construit, n'ont aucun bénéfice en termes de développement local. Ça, c'est des impacts négatifs.
Equally, the selling of electricity at considerable economic value doesn't come back to local people in the form of any kind of benefit.
Bref, quand vous construisez un barrage, vous devez changer les conditions de vie et d'existence des populations. Parce que c'est elles qui sont les premières à être touchées par la construction du barrage.
So he says we need to change the way in which things are done to make sure that local people are the primary beneficiary of this infrastructure.
Et tout le travail que nous sommes en train de faire avec nos amis de la CEDEAO, parce que comme il a dit, ils prennent les aspects institutionnels en termes de texte, mais également avec les partenaires comme l'IED, UCN à travers le projet la Global Water Initiative, pour d'une part identifier les bonnes pratiques autour des barrages en Afrique et dans le monde, et évidemment trouver des solutions pour les mauvaises pratiques, les impacts négatifs, pour les corriger sur les barrages à futur qui sont en train de construire.
So this is why we're working together with the governments, with the ECOWAS, with IUCN and IID who are running this program, in order to learn lessons from the wave of dams that is currently being built, doesn't make the same mistakes as those.
Et nous, en tant que représentants de la société civile, c'est pour organiser les usagers, pour comprendre qu'est-ce que, par exemple, une institution internationale comme la Banque mondiale, ou la BAD, ou l'Union européenne, ou les États, la CEDEAO, ont dit en termes clairs dans leur test stratégique, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont dit par rapport au barrage.
So this is why we're also trying to engage with the World Bank, the European Union, the African Development Bank, to clarify what their position is around these issues, and to make sure that the civil society view is heard.
Tout le monde est d'accord sur une phrase, pour construire un barrage, il faut une juste et préalable indemnisation des populations.
I think the one thing that brings everybody together around dams is that there should be prior and just compensation for the losses that local people suffer if they're affected by dams. Everybody is agreed around that.
Et c'est pourquoi on fait les études d'impact environnemental, les plans de gestion environnementale et sociale, les plans de restauration pour comprendre un peu les problématiques de la question, le recensement des populations, afin de les mettre dans leurs droits.
And this is why the donors put in place all these environmental studies, environmental impact studies, to make sure that the rights of local people are not impacted, or at least they're respected when a large dam is built. Perhaps we'll just ask if there's other questions. On va demander s'il y a d'autres.
Oui, exactement.
Is that
Perfect.
adequate?
Yeah, thank you.
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions ou other questions?
Sinon, s'il n'y a pas de questions, on peut continuer, parce qu'on peut continuer l'exercice jusqu'à 20h.
Comme il y aura le panel.
I mean, perhaps to look at lessons, to go back to that issue, we feel very strongly that there are ways of doing things differently that will improve local development outcomes. And there are a number of them. One is about explicitly setting out to see local people as beneficiaries, that it's not just about national objectives and energy production and feeding the country and so on. What is the development opportunity that this dam will offer to a local person? So we get away from this idea that local people are somehow in the way and they need to be moved so that we can get on with doing something else. We need to say, what is the interest of this village in this dam? You're not a problem, you should be a beneficiary of the process. And there are ways of doing that in terms of sharing revenues from electricity with those local people, in terms of making sure they have secure land rights in the new irrigation schemes, in terms of ensuring that the commitments of government to improve their livelihoods are contractual commitments and not just political statements, that there is a written obligation to improve people's lives, and that we collectively set out to make everybody better off. And one of the surprising things about the recent policies for me has always been that the World Bank has a long-standing policy to make sure people are not worse off. Whereas what we think is that actually it should set out to make everybody better off, rather than simply making sure that no one is worse off as a result.
This is Stella from Enterprise Service. I had a question. You said that you are engaging with the World Bank right now to help them understand your perspective. So, what has been the top state, your recent talk with the World Bank? So, what is there a specific solution that you have shared with the World Bank that comes from the community? And at what stage, how would you describe your current engagement with the World Bank? At what stage is the current dialogue has been, if you could say, and how have they been responding from the World Bank?
I think we work with the World Bank very closely on two dams, one in Kandaji in Niger and one in Fomi in Guinea. And there is no doubt in my mind...
If you could, what are the dams?
Kandaji, K-A-N-D-A-D-G-I.
K-A-N-D-A-D-G-I.
D-A-D-G-I.
Yeah.
And one is Fomi, F-O-M-I, in Guinea.
Okay, yeah.
And there is no doubt in my mind that the World Bank staff are completely committed to delivering good dams. That they are extremely receptive to ideas about how to do things. And in many cases we have worked together to improve, for example, proposals on secure land tenure in Kandaji Dam, so that resettled people have secure rights to land under the resettlement scheme. What is also clear to us is that the complexity of the way the bank functions with countries and the way in which money is spent means that a lot of the provisions in the documents don't always get through to reality on the ground. So you read the document, you think this is good, if we can do that, this is going to work. And then you find that the people that are contracted to do it don't do a proper job, or the consultants that are supposed to design it don't design it properly, or that the government doesn't respect its commitments. There's a whole series of other things that happen after the World Bank thinks it's got something that is going to work. So there's a huge implementation gap between the plan and the reality on the ground. So, for example, the first resettled village in Kandaji in Niger went at least 18 months and maybe 2 years without water, without drinking water. It was delivered every day by a lorry, but the plan said that there should be a fully functioning water system before people were relocated. But it just didn't happen. You know, why did it not happen? Because the Ministry of Finance didn't release the money, because the entrepreneur went bust, because they found it was rock and not sand and they couldn't drill, so it was more expensive. You know, so the implementation gap between the plan and what happens is often considerable.
So in all these bad stories, is there a good story that you could share with us?
There's a very good story in terms of what has happened at Bui in Ghana, which is a recent dam that has been completed, where the relations between local people and the Bui Power Authority were extremely constructive, and they discussed about their housing problems, and they explained that if they just replaced a 3-room house with a 3-room house, that they had no space for growing their family, for example. And so Bui Power Authority said, okay, we'll build you a 4-room house. We'll give everybody one more room than what you already have, with an opportunity to expand their living space. And that was due to the learning that came out of the Akosombo Dam in Ghana. So authorities are making an effort. Where, for example, Bui has not worked so well is that the big issue around compensation for land is that it's all about land title and compensation for lost crops. And that process has been much less successful at Bui because it's not managed, in my view, by the Bui Power Authority. It's managed by the Lands Commission, which is a different part of government. So the Bui Power Authority cannot say, we will do this, because it's a different bit of government that isn't doing their job. Okay? So one of the biggest challenges, I think, is actually trying to get multiple ministries to work together.
I'm Hermes from South Asia. I worked with the portal called the Third Pole, I was wondering, like, I mean, what do you think? I mean, it is a matter to deal with what's going on in the community, or you have to change the way that dams have been built because the climate change impact and all things are going on. So, should we focus on building dams, or should we focus on just talking about something like land acquisition or kind of community thing only? So, I mean, is there any kind of perspectives on how the dams things should go, like big dams things should go in West Africa? Like there's a big thing going on in India, in China, in Nepal, and there are a lot of people who are against dams, and there are people who are pro dam people. So, what is the level of discussion or the issue in West Africa actually?
Tu veux traduire facilement la question?
Ouais, je suis pas sûr d'avoir tout compris. Mais, la question, c'est de savoir, dans les discussions, dans les débats, on a toujours tendance à parler plutôt de construction des barrages, est-ce qu'il faut construire un barrage ou bien est-ce qu'il ne faut pas construire un barrage? Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres, justement, enfin il y a d'autres portes d'entrée pour pouvoir aborder ce thème du développement des grands barrages, plutôt que la porte d'entrée construction, non-construction, pour éviter de tomber dans un débat pro ou contre le barrage? C'est ça, si tu veux compléter peut-être.
Quel est le niveau de débat social autour des barrages en Afrique de l'Ouest?
Quelles autres questions?
Non, bon, je pense qu'il y a eu quand même beaucoup de débats sur la construction de grands barrages, qu'il faut construire ou pas de grands barrages en Afrique de l'Ouest. Il y a eu beaucoup de débats là-dessus.
So there's been an awful lot of discussions in West Africa around should we build large dams or not.
Et on a tenu compte de cela dans le développement de la nouvelle vague de barrages que nous sommes en train de construire au niveau de la région. Il y a eu tout un débat, par exemple, sur les barrages au niveau du Niger. Il y a eu ce qu'on a eu, le processus de vision partagée. Donc, il a tenu compte de questions de l'intégration régionale, des questions de changement climatique, quel barrage il faut construire ou ne pas construire, la dimension des barrages. Donc, tous les pays qui partagent ce fleuve, ce bassin, donc il y a 9 pays, donc les États, les organisations de la société civile. Il y a eu un grand débat pour donc déterminer les barrages les plus nécessaires et indispensables qu'il faut construire sur ce bassin.
Okay.
Donc,
So there have been a whole series of debates in West Africa over many, many years, going back to the shared vision of the Niger Basin, where the 9 countries of the basin had a whole process around what dams are desirable, which ones should we build, where should they be sited, and coming up with a whole series of consensual proposals on how to build dams on the Niger. And equally at the ECOWAS level, the 39 current dams have also been through a whole dialogue process at the same time. So yes, there's a lot of debate going on.
Bon, il y a 2 éléments qui fait qu'aujourd'hui, tout le monde est d'accord qu'il faut aller à la construction des barrages. Il n'y a plus de ressources d'eau dans les fleuves.
So there's a general consensus that we need more dams because of climate change and because there isn't enough water left in the rivers.
Donc il faut mettre un système comme un barrage pour stocker l'eau, pour faire de l'électricité, pour faire les aménagements agricoles, pour l'eau potable pour les hommes et les animaux.
So we need we need dams to store water for irrigation and for drinking water and for livestock.
Au même moment où on est victime par les changements climatiques, au même moment la population est galopante. Le bassin du Niger aujourd'hui c'est 200 millions d'habitants. Dans 10 ans il va être 400-500 millions d'habitants.
So
comment il faut les nourrir, comment il faut leur donner de l'eau, comment il faut leur donner de l'électricité.
So we've not only got climate change, but we also have significantly increasing populations. There are currently 200 million people in the Niger Basin area, the 9 countries, and that will increase to 400 million people that all need to be fed and to have energy and to have water.
C'est pourquoi les organisations régionales comme la CEDEAO et les États ont dit ok, on va à la construction des grands barrages, mais il faut régler les goulots d'étranglement, les problèmes sociaux que les barrages créent.
So there's a general consensus that dams are important for regional development under the condition that you solve what is called the social bottleneck, which is to get the social impacts right, to make sure that the negative impacts are avoided?
Premièrement, aucun pays aujourd'hui ne peut construire un barrage sur le fleuve Niger qui est un cours international sans l'aval des autres pays. C'est ça la vision partagée dont ils ont 9 pays. Le Mali ne peut pas construire un barrage sans demander l'accord des 8 autres pays.
So no country can build a dam without the agreement of the other 8 countries in the Niger Basin.
En fait, c'était un peu cette idée que j'étais un peu sur cette voie-là. Bon, par rapport aux conditions qu'il a dit, chaque État en fait, a tendance à vouloir construire un barrage pour satisfaire sa population, pour le truc politique et tout ça. Donc, l'eau diminue, donc il y a beaucoup de problèmes. Donc, si on se permet de faire ça, il y aura une multiplicité de barrages. Donc, c'est pourquoi j'ai dit qu'il y a eu ce qu'on appelait la vision partagée, où il y a eu un grand débat régional avec tous les États, la société civile. Et dans le cas du bassin du Niger, on s'est mis d'accord sur la construction d'un certain nombre de barrages qui est viable et qui répond vraiment à un certain nombre de normes. Donc, c'est Fomi en Guinée, Taoussa au Mali, Kandandi au Niger. Donc c'est ça, et puis maintenant les barrages, il y a beaucoup de barrages au Nigeria, la réputation d'un barrage aussi, a même des dimensions par rapport au tout. Donc c'était un peu pour réajuster un peu l'idée. Voilà,
so there was a tendency in West Africa for every government to want to build its own dam on its own river to satisfy the needs of its own people without thinking about the downstream consequences of what that meant. And this is why this whole shared vision process and the regional consultations are important, to make sure that there's consensus on a whole river system around which dams are going to be built and which ones are not going to be built, so as to avoid transboundary tensions between different countries. And this is the shared vision that has been developed for the Niger Basin that has led to 3 dams being proposed and agreed, one at Fomi in Guinea, one at Taoussa in Mali, and one at Kandaji in Niger.
Nous, société civile, on ne pose pas la question est-ce qu'il faut construire ou pas. Ce qui nous intéresse, c'est de préserver les droits des populations qui vont être affectées par les barrages.
Okay. So, I mean, here is another important point, which is from the civil society's perspective, they don't take a position on should you build or should you not build. They say, if you're going to build, we want to see our rights respected.
Okay.
That's all.
I'm sorry, there's another press briefing coming up now, so maybe one last question then?
That would be great. I mean,
Just
you've been
an
waiting.
observation.
Or too quick?
Bonjour. Just wait. Okay, let me just forget my French. I'm Sheung from Nigeria. I'm wondering, ECOWAS, I haven't had, I don't know if you have built any dams in Nigeria from...
ECOWAS doesn't build dams.
You mentioned that you were, I thought he said something like he works in where you build, you determine what dams to be built and stuff
It's
like
a policy coordinator. It's the national government who builds,
Yeah.
but once there is regional consensus.
And then for Mr. Toure Norodin, the Lake Chad problem, because I understand there is the desertification in the north of Nigeria, and how are they treating that? How are they working on that? Because it causes people from Niger to move into Borno State in northern Nigeria, and then there is a cattle rustling, there is the fight with the locally, the indigenous people, which has caused a lot of bloodshed in the past, and which is still happening even till now.
Well, we'll translate the question, but he's from the Niger Basin, not the Chad Basin.
Même le Tchad, on peut. Bon, il y a pas éventuellement donner des réponses.
Tu veux très bien.
J'ai pas compris toute la...
Pour le lac
Donc,
Tchad,
il disait qu'au lac Tchad, il y a des problèmes de désertification, de dégradation des ressources, qui font pousser les populations vers le nord du Nigeria, qui posent beaucoup de problèmes avec les populations locales. Vous suivez, hein, je traduis bien. Et donc, il demandait quelle est votre opinion sur la désertification au lac Tchad qui conduit à cet état de fait.
actuellement, il y a une grande dynamique de préservation du lac Tchad. Donc, il y a un grand processus qui a été lancé.
So there's a whole program to conserve Lake Chad.
Et cela a abouti l'année dernière à la formulation d'un programme quinquennal d'investissement dans le lac Tchad.
So there's now a 5-year investment program in Lake Chad that has been agreed.
Et il y a eu des réunion au mois d'avril dernier à Bologne, donc avec tous les partenaires techniques et financiers, la Banque mondiale, tout le monde. Et nous, la CEDEAO, on a participé à ce processus, on participe à cette initiative, parce qu'il y a 2 États de l'Afrique de l'Est qui sont membres de la commission du bassin du lac Tchad qui pilote en fait ce processus. Donc ça prend en compte tous ces aspects. Il y a des programmes, un ensemble de programmes, donc le plan quinquennal d'investissement, donc avec un ensemble de programmes pour la lutte contre la désertification, la gestion intégrée des ressources en eau, le grand banditisme qui s'est développé avec Boko Haram. Donc il y a tout un ensemble de programmes donc, qui a été présenté à tous les partenaires techniques et financiers, à toute la Banque mondiale, tous les pays, l'Union européenne. Donc il y a eu une grande table ronde en avril dernier à Bologne.
So, last April in Bologna in Italy? Bologna in Italy.
Bologne, c'est en Allemagne.
Non, en Italie. En Italie. Non, moi j'ai participé en Italie. J'étais là.
Bologna in Italy. Last April there was a major roundtable with all the donors, all the concerned countries, the World Bank, the European Union and so on. ECOWAS participated in that because 2 of the ECOWAS countries are part of the Lake Chad Basin, that's Nigeria and Niger.
Avec même un ambassadeur de bonne volonté, l'ancien Premier ministre.
There's a whole program of investment around anti-desertification measures, anti-terrorism measures, local development measures that have been proposed and agreed and which will be funded by those partners to address the kind of issues you're raising around Lake Chad.
I want to see.